To survive without oxygen, this mammal doesn't look to its furry cousins for help. It looks to a strawberry. Now that sounds like a riddle, but it's the first clue to understanding the naked mole rat, a creature that seems to have stolen its powers from across the entire tree of life. For a long time, we just saw it as a collection of weird tricks. A rodent that lives for 30 years without any signs of aging, is almost immune to cancer, and lives in a dictatorship ruled by a violent queen. But it's not just weird, it's a thief. To build its underground empire, it stole the social blueprint of an insect. To power it, it stole the energy-saving metabolism of a reptile. And for the ultimate crisis, surviving without oxygen, it stole from the plant kingdom. This is a story of a biological heist. And by understanding how the naked mole rat built a body and mind so resilient to aging, it might just hold the keys to our own future. Think about basically every mammal you know, each individual fighting for the privilege to reproduce and pass on their own genes. The naked mole rat threw that entire idea in the trash. Instead, it looked at the insect world, at the ants and bees, and stole their most powerful invention, eusociality, the superorganism. In a naked mole rat colony of up to 300 individuals, only one female gets to breed, the queen. She is the heart, brain, and sole reproductive engine of the entire society. Everyone else, her sons, her daughters, her sisters, are sterile workers, dedicating their entire lives to serving her. But she isn't a gentle monarch like an ant queen. She rules through violence. Picture her, twice the size of her subjects, barreling through the tunnels. She doesn't just nudge a lazy worker, she body slams them, shoves them into the tunnel wall, grabs them with her teeth, and literally drags them to where they should be working. This isn't random aggression either. The chronic social stress she inflicts is the very thing that keeps her colony mates infertile. The stress shuts down a crucial hormone in their brains, GnRH. Without it, their entire reproductive system is frozen in limbo. Their infertility isn't genetic, it's imposed. Take a worker out of the colony, away from the queen's reign of terror, and it can become fertile in as little as a couple weeks, at almost any age. A 20-year-old worker can suddenly become fertile just by escaping her influence. And her control is so absolute, she even dictates the language. In the pitch black tunnels, mole rats communicate with a complex repertoire of chirps. But it goes even deeper than that. Each colony has its own unique learned dialect, an audible password. The queen sets and maintains this dialect. When a new queen takes power, the colony's calls, which had frayed into chaos, slowly begin to converge again, coalescing around her new accent. Scientists have even used complex algorithms on thousands of recorded calls to prove it. This is total control, physical, chemical, and cultural. The queen has created a near-perfect system where every single member of her society is a sterile, obedient extension of her own will. But like in many dictatorships, there will be rebels. A few individuals in the colony are born different. They grow plump, hoarding fat reserves. They are the dispersers. Driven by a deep biological urge, they show no interest in the queen. They are escape artists, hardwired to leave the colony, brave the dangerous outside world, and find an unrelated mate to start a new dynasty. They are the system's built-in safeguard against inbreeding. For everyone else, the only path to the throne is through violence. When a queen dies, the spell is broken. The highest ranking females, their bodies suddenly surging with hormones, erupt into a vicious civil war. These are a series of brutal fights that are often fatal. And the victor doesn't just win the crown, she wins a new body, In the days after her victory, she undergoes a profound transformation. Her spine elongates, the vertebrae separating to make room for massive litters. Her brain remodels, with regions associated with dominance swelling in size, and her ovaries, dormant for her entire life, awaken. She has stolen the ultimate prize, the right to exist as an individual. To run this underground empire, you need more than a stolen social structure. You need a body that can solve the two fundamental problems of living deep underground. There's very little fuel, and sometimes there's no oxygen. For that, the naked mole rat performed its next two heists, creating a single brilliant system for survival. First, it tackled the fuel problem. It looked at every other mammal and saw a huge inefficiency. We have a furnace. We burn a tremendous amount of energy just to keep our bodies warm. The naked mole rat looked at that furnace and decided it was a waste of fuel. So it committed its first act of metabolic theft. It stole a secret from the reptiles. It became, for all intents and purposes, a cold-blooded mammal. Its body temperature simply mirrors its warm and stable tunnels. Don't mistake this for a primitive trait. This was an evolutionary choice. We know this because the mole rat still has the genetic blueprint for a furnace. It has the special heat-generating tissue, but evolution deliberately sabotaged a key protein, UCP1, that makes it all work. It broke its own thermostat. In a world where food is scarce, a powerful internal heater is a gas guzzler. By shutting it off, the mole rat put its entire body on a permanent energy-saving mode. So the mole rat has its energy budget balanced. It's living a slow, low-energy life. But that budget is built for normal days. What happens when the tunnels become a death trap? When hundreds of bodies breathing in a confined space cause the oxygen levels to plummet to near zero. This is where the second heist begins, going back to the strawberry. When a human brain is deprived of oxygen, it's a catastrophe. Our glucose-based energy system grinds to a halt. Cells die. Brain damage begins quickly. When a naked mole rat's brain is deprived of oxygen, it calmly flips a metabolic switch. It floods its system with a different kind of sugar, fructose. This is the heist from the plant kingdom. Its brain and heart are uniquely equipped with special molecular machinery that allows them to run on fructose when oxygen isn't available. Think of it this way. Metabolizing glucose without oxygen creates a toxic traffic jam in your cells. But fructose uses a different highway. It bypasses the jam completely. It's a plant-based emergency generator. And this is where the two heists work in perfect harmony. Because the mole rat is already cold-blooded, its energy demands are at rock bottom. It doesn't need to fight the crisis. It can surrender to it. It shuts down all non-essential activity. Its metabolic rate plummets, and it enters a state of suspended animation, sipping on that fructose fuel. In one experiment, after 18 minutes in a pure nitrogen chamber, a situation that would leave any other mammal brain dead, the naked mole rat is revived with a puff of air and simply scurries off, completely unharmed. And it's possible it could have gone for much longer. One heist to save fuel for the long haul, another to survive the immediate crisis. It's a perfect 1-2 punch, stolen from two different kingdoms to conquer the suffocating darkness. So this creature has stolen the social life of an insect, the metabolism of a reptile, and the survival chemistry of a plant. But what is this all for? The final prize, the one thing all life seems to lose: time. The naked mole rat exhibits what scientists call negligible senescence, a fancy term for a simple, stunning reality. It doesn't really age. At least not in any way we can tell. A 30-year-old mole rat is just as fit, fertile, and healthy as a 2-year-old. Its risk of death doesn't increase as the years go by. It's a biological reality so profound, scientists aren't just studying it out of curiosity. They're studying it as a potential roadmap to keeping humans healthy longer and living longer lives. Each heist offers a key. Going back to its plant-based emergency generator, researchers are now working to trigger that same fructose switch in human tissues. Imagine paramedics with an injection that could buy stroke victims hours instead of minutes, or allow a heart attack victim to reach the hospital without permanent damage. You may have heard of their lack of pain response to acid. It's because a key pain signal channel in their neurons is blocked. That exact same channel is now one of the hottest targets for developing new non-opioid painkillers that could treat chronic pain without the risk of addiction. But all of this is just the prelude to the grand challenge: stopping the diseases of aging itself. The first layer of the fortress is its near total immunity to cancer, and the reason it's so effective is its redundancy. First, a physical barrier. For a cancer to start in our bodies, a rogue cell needs to push its neighbors out of the way. The naked mole rat prevents this by flooding the space between its cells with a gooey sugar, like biological cement. A cell is physically trapped, stopping a tumor before the second cell can even form. But what if a cell gets around that? That's where the second security system kicks in, a genetic double lock. Your cells have a set of genetic breaks to stop them from dividing when they shouldn't. If that single break fails, cancer might follow. The naked mole rat has 2 independent sets of these breaks. For a cell to turn cancerous, it needs 2 different catastrophic failures at the same time. It's a simple but profound upgrade that makes them virtually tumor-proof. And while we can't just give people mole rat goo, understanding this double lock system has opened new avenues. What if we could enhance our own tumor suppressors to match their paranoid efficiency? But the mole rat's ultimate defense might be the one it mounts inside its own mind. As we age, a protein in our brain called amyloid beta can misfold and become sticky, clumping into the toxic plaques of Alzheimer's. When scientists looked at old mole rat brains, they found something that defied logic. Their brains were full of the same protein, all the raw material for Alzheimer's. But their minds stayed sharp. The plaques never formed. So what's their secret? They have a bodyguard of sorts. Their brain produces a huge amount of a special chaperone protein. It finds the sticky amyloid beta proteins and binds to them, physically preventing them from clumping together. It doesn't eliminate the threat, it neutralizes it. It's a brain that can carry a huge load of potentially toxic material but suffer none of the effects. All of this is built on the foundation of that slow, cold-blooded metabolism. A slow-burning engine produces less exhaust, and when damage does occur, their cells are twice as efficient at repairing it. Even the proteins they build are better. Their ribosomes, the cellular factories that assemble proteins, are extraordinarily precise. Over a lifetime, this incredible quality control prevents the buildup of junk proteins that clog up the cells of aging animals. The naked mole rat is a biological paradox. To become one of the most successful subterranean mammals, it had to forget how to be a mammal. It abandoned warm-bloodedness, outsourced its individuality, and repurposed the chemistry of other kingdoms. It reminds us that the solutions to our most profound biological problems might not be found by looking in the mirror, but by studying the outlaws, the oddballs, and the thieves who broke all the rules and got away with it. The naked mole rat is a master thief, and by studying its stolen secrets, we might just learn how to steal more time and health for ourselves.